been stated any number of ways, any number of times, but the old sort of saying, again, this is sort of paraphrasing because I don't know how the original went, I guess you could say, but was it a messy desk is a sign of intelligence, and a clean desk is a sign of an empty mind, and similar. Now, I'm not trying to say that there's really absolutely something to the idea that that's true, right? But what I am saying is that there is something to the idea that lots of times more intelligent people tend to be somewhat more nebulous. And that's part of the reason that I wanted to talk on the idea of the inside on today's Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I'm your host. I'm Kurt. Today is Friday, the 23rd of July of 2021. Welcome to everybody who's here on Rumble, on the podcast, on YouTube. Remember, Rumble is my preferred platform because, among other things, I don't see the censorship on Rumble that I'm being told, and I do believe is happening a lot of other places. And again, the subject for today is the inside, and we're going to go through and hit the notes real quick so that we can discuss, sort of where this is coming from. I had a person post a social media a post on a messy house and how they would run away if they saw that somebody that they were dating for a month had a messy house. I'm going to go ahead and read my notes. Like I say, Jesus said it, but the fact is you must realize the truth in it, whether you believe the Bible or in God in any form or not. What's on the outside may help to give you a picture of who somebody is, but what really matters is what's inside. It's totally fair to look at how a person acts, how they carry themselves, whether or not they mark themselves up with tattoos, piercings, or other modifications. You can look at more transitive things like clothes, bathing habits, haircuts. When you do look at things like that, know you're seeing only a moment in time. Now, the body modifications are more so. If you do tattoos, if you do piercings, and so forth. Piercings less so, tattoos more so because they're harder to remove, right? Things like a clean house to your standards may give you a slightly longer look. Even so, they're not really a strong sign of the character of the person. Consider a person who spends all of his or her free time helping others. There's an old idea that the shoemaker often has the oldest, less well-kept shoes. That's not by any means a sign he or she is lazy. Rather, it may be that his or her industry is better spent making shoes for others, at least in his or her opinion, right? That's the least that we can say. All right, we're at the end of the notes, so we're going to talk about this now, kind of go through this, get an idea for what the reality here is. Look, Jesus didn't say that what was inside was what was important, and that the reason what came out of your mouth mattered was because it was a sign of what's inside, for no reason. But, on the other hand, he did not say, I expect you to keep a flawless house. In fact, Jesus basically said, I don't got nowhere to live. So as far as that goes, it would be more than a little silly, I think, to try and make a statement to the effect that he would have held people to a standard of cleanliness. In fact, when he dealt with the two ladies, one of them who would sit at his feet and listen, and the other one who would complain because she did so and wasn't helping keep the house and so forth, he said, look, she knows what's more important. She knows what's more important. That's an important consideration, an important realization, right? Yeah, okay, she wasn't a great housekeeper, or maybe she was an okay housekeeper and she allowed herself to be to have other things get her attention, however you want to look at that she considered to be more important. This we know. He didn't have a problem with what she did. Now, from the perspective of a person who doesn't believe there's a God, who doesn't believe what Jesus said, and so forth, which I feel sorry for you, but I can't change that for you, right? But from that perspective, let me ask you a question. You're on the road. You're no mechanical genius. Your car breaks down. It happens to be just a tire, so it's nothing too big, but you're really struggling to fix it. Bunches of people drive by you looking purty, right? Oh, they're in their nice cars. Oh, the cars are nicely waxed. They're wearing their fancy clothes. Somebody comes along driving in his old beat-up pickup truck, his, her, again, it doesn't really matter. Stops seeing you, gets out, you see that they're in raggedy, oily, or dirty clothes. They get out, they ask you what's going on, you tell them, they say no problem, they get out and they fix your vehicle. They change that tire for you. You want to give them money, and you know what they do? They refuse it. No, keep that for you. That's for you. That ain't for me. I'm just helping out. Is that person a good person or are they a bad person? You tell me. I know the answer. I know what I think. What do you think? I'm just saying. You look at the people who all drove by with no concern. And I'm going to tell you, there have been lots of times that I've been guilty of exactly that kind of behavior, by the way. Okay? You look at all of those people who just drove on by and left that person sitting on the side of the road, and you tell me which was the person who was the better person. I'm not just talking about the, quote, Good Samaritan here. I'm talking about the person who actually stopped. There have been times when I've been driving along the roadway and somebody's sitting on the side and I know they're not going to get anywhere fairly quickly, and that person has a tire that they've taken off and they can't do anything with it until they can drive into a nearby town. And I've stopped and I've helped those people even when I was on my way to work. I'm not trying to make myself look like a good person. I either am or I'm not, and I'm not trying to make myself look like one for this video or for anything else for that matter. I want to be a good person. I don't want to come off like a good person or make you think that I am because of what I say. That's what I want to be. And I'll tell you right now, I'm not as good a person as I want to be. That's a reality. But the point is, just because a person has a messy house, for example, just because a person doesn't necessarily take care of themselves as well as they could, does not mean that that person is not a person of high character, of high moral standards, and so forth. You may look at a person whose house is pretty and all the rest, and you may go, isn't that a wonderful person? I don't do that. I don't do that. I think tattoos are a waste of money and a waste of time, and I think that they're a sign of people who have issues. But let me just tell you something. If a person with tattoos is willing to help somebody out when they're in a time of trouble, that person is a person, as far as I'm concerned, of higher moral fiber, higher moral character than those people around them, particularly at that point in time. I don't see any way to argue that. How do you get around that? Are you really worried about whether or not a person's house is a mess, or are you really worried about who the person is that you're dealing with? It's a hard thing because a lot of people, they want to seek that attractive, well-kept person, right, as the person that they want to spend their time with. But they don't realize a lot of times when a person is not that attractive, well-kept person, it's because they're doing things for themselves and, more importantly, for others that are significant and important, way more to them than keeping themselves looking, oh, fancy schmancy. You don't see me dressing in big fancy clothes. You don't see me, looking perfectly coiffed or whatever. I don't do that. If you look at me like that, you're looking at somebody I'm not. I just want you to know that. But here's the thing. Forget me. Look at other people and look at who they actually are. Try and come to conclusions about who's inside that body. Stop worrying about whether or not the outside is perfect. And I'm talking in a number of ways. They're in a wheelchair, so what? They're missing a leg, okay. They have an eye that doesn't work right, fine. But the question is, who is that person you're looking at? Stop looking at the outside, start looking at the inside. And I know it's hard because you want that attractiveness and so forth, and I get all of that. But that's not what love is about, people, and that's not what good people are about either. I'm going to talk some more on this on another video at some point in the future. I decided that I was going to do it, and I just haven't had the chance to do so yet. All right, I need to go ahead and wrap this up. This is the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I'm your host. I am Kurt. Today is Friday, the 23rd of July of 2021. It is that beginning of the weekend day for a lot of folks at the end of the day today. Tomorrow will be Saturday, the 24th of July of 2021. For all of you who are Sabbath observers, I hope you have a good Sabbath tomorrow. I think it's starting this evening, but I never can remember whether that's the case. I think it's starting this evening and running until evening on the Sabbath. That is on Saturday. Thank you for everyone who's been here on Rumble on the podcast and on YouTube. Remember that Rumble is my preferred platform. You can give me a positive rumble on Rumble and a negative one as well if you feel like you need to do that. You can give me a like or a thumbs up on YouTube. You can also give me a dislike or a thumbs down on YouTube, yet again, if you feel the need to do that. And on both of those platforms, you can always comment if you want to do that. And I covet your comments because I really want to know what people think about the things that I'm saying. Today's subject has been the inside, and tomorrow we're going to talk about using their arguments. And I forget exactly what that's about. You're going to find that a lot from me. I have to focus on the near term a lot, but I wrote it down, and I promise you that I wrote it down for good cause, and I will try and talk about something tomorrow that you will find interesting, useful, and so forth. Hope everything is going well for you on this Friday. Hope that you are having a good day in general, and hopefully we will see you again on Saturday's edition of the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. The speaker on this edition of the Daily Summation is Kurt Schubert. This video was recorded on Friday the 23rd of July of 2021. The Daily Summation is created for Kurt's Religion and Politics. Thanks for watching this edition of the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I hope you found it entertaining or instructional, or maybe both. If you want to see more from me, you can go to blogs.kpschubert.com. That's blogs.kpschubert.com. I am on Twitter, Parler, and Minds.com. My handle on each of those is @kpschubert. That's @kpschubert. I have a Rumble and a YouTube channel. They are the Kurt's Religion and Politics channels on Rumble and YouTube. I have a Facebook page. The Facebook page is Kurt's Religion and Politics as well. I am on Patreon. If you want to support me, that's one of the better places you can do that. And you will find me at Kurt's Religion and Politics on Patreon. I have a podcast. The podcast is podcasts with an S, .kpschubert.com. That's podcasts.kpschubert.com. I think you should be able to find me with relative ease on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify as well. The best way I find to do that is to look for Kurt's Religion and Politics. You can try to use the Daily Summation. I find that it doesn't work as well as a general rule, but you can always try that. I'm glad to have you aboard today, and hopefully we will see you again tomorrow.